Steve Enteman. Speaker number four, Steve Enteman.
Friends, I didn't know I was going to do this actually tonight, but I got to share something with you. It's kind of personal. I'm actually adopted. Thank you. Okay, I'm not really adopted, but the two people who claim to be my parents, there's no way in hell they're actually my parents. I don't even look like them. They're blonde hair and green eyes. Obviously, I'm not. In fact, I don't look like any of my siblings either. The only thing that we have in common is our enormous feet. We have huge feet. These are 14 extra wides, and trust me, it's all true. Call me. I've never believed it. In fact, for years, I've gone around sneaking little pieces of hair from their combs and sending it into DNA labs just to try it out. And honestly, I've done it so many times that the lab has actually created a rewards program for me. Next test is free. But time and time again, the results come back, and they are my parents. But it's not all for a loss. I've learned a lot of things watching them over the years, and tonight I'm going to share 3 very important life lessons with all of you. Growing up, I was the oldest of 5 kids. We didn't have a lot of money for important things, like groceries, apparently condoms. So they did anything they could to save a little bit of money. So one time my dad worked for hours on the car, and he came out like a heart surgeon holding the fuel pump. And he gave it to my mom, and he said, "Honey, please take this to the store and get me a new one just like this one." My mom, being a dutiful wife of the 70s, she said, "Sure." And she grabbed it like a life flight nurse carrying a transplant organ and drove as fast as she could. Now wait, I know you're thinking, how'd she drive when he's been working on the car? Well, we had a second car. We weren't that poor. So she pulls into the Checker Auto and she runs inside and she plops it on the counter and she says, "Sir, we need a new fuel pump. My husband needs this just like this one. Stat." The clerk looked at the fuel pump, looked back at my mom, looked back at it one more time and doubled over. "Ma'am, that ain't a fuel pump." Lesson 1, it's okay to ask for help when you don't know what you're doing. Be sure to send somebody else so they look like the idiots. I was a child of the 70s. Yeah, growing up, we had macrame plant hangers and avocado everything. My parents thought they'll do a little home improvement, so they went out and they bought wood paneling to put in our dining room and those marbled mirrors that go over top, kind of like on this wall right here. My dad thought he would surprise my mom, let her go to work one day. It's my job to help him. Oh, help I did. I held that wood paneling as he cut it with a circular saw on our dining room table. First cut. Everything was okay. Second cut. Still there. Third cut. And there were sparks and a change of sawdust. But my dad's no quitter, so he kept on. Those 2 pieces pulled apart, and there was a cut in our dining room table about this deep. We're not religious people, but we all found Jesus right then. Oh, Lord, help us, for we know not what he does. And we prayed for a swift and honorable death. But the third lesson is the most important, the one that I've carried with me my entire life. I was about 5 years old. I had just gone to bed. It was dark out, but I hadn't fallen asleep yet. Now, I heard my parents talking. And they were worried, and it concerned me, even as a 5-year-old. I was a nosy little fucker. So I climbed out of that bunk bed and I walked down that hall, in my little footy pajamas. And I walked into the dining room. Yeah, the same dining room. And there they were, my dad and my mom, and now me. You know, like those little stupid stick figure stickers on the back of a minivan? Yeah, some of you should be ashamed. And we stood there looking at the Arcadia door up into the dark night sky. And hovering over top of the backyard was an enormous object with flashing lights that were very peculiar, and my parents were worried. There was an initial conversation. Was it the military? Could it be the Russians? And then it was said, was it aliens? My dad at that moment reached over and flicked on our back porch light, and my mom, without missing a beat, and like a ninja in a Jackie Chan movie, spun around, smacked him on the arm, and yelled, "Ray, turn off the light! They'll know we're home!" And he did. Seconds later, the lights changed, and they were something that was much more recognizable. Goodyear tires. And it leads me to that final, most important point, the one that has carried with me my entire life. Children, draw close. Don't do drugs. Now, they say that every cloud has a silver lining. In my case, it's a blimp. And not everything was a waste. I learned these lessons that I've carried with me. Matter of fact, they've made me the man that I am today. But you better damn well believe I'm going to use that free test, because there's no way in hell that those two people are my parents. Mr. MC.
Hey, all right, Steve Enteman. Good job, Steve. Woo!